October 5th, 2011. The world stopped. Steve Jobs, the modern wizard, the secular saint of Silicon Valley, was gone. With his passing, a terrifying question rippled through the tech world, whispered in the corridors of competitors, and shouted on the covers of business magazines. Can Apple survive without its soul? Fast forward to today. Look at the numbers, and the question seems laughable. Apple is a multi-trillion-dollar empire. They hold more cash reserves than many sovereign nations. But look past the roaring balance sheets. Look beneath the gold-plated armor. A darker, far more uncomfortable truth begins to emerge. Has Apple actually created anything truly revolutionary since Steve Jobs died? Or are they simply running on the momentum of a dead man's genius? Today, we go inside the world's most valuable company to explore the haunting theory that Apple has stopped inventing and has spent the last decade merely copying, tweaking, and coasting. When Tim Cook took the throne, he wasn't hired to be a visionary. He was hired to be a machine. Jobs was the artist. Cook was the operational executioner, and Cook's mission was simple. Take Steve's final masterpiece, the iPhone, and squeeze every single drop of profit out of it. And he did. Under Cook, Apple perfected the art of incrementalism. Don't change the phone, just make the camera 10% sharper, make the glass 5% stronger, move the camera lenses diagonally, and call it a revolution. The strategy was a financial masterclass. The iPhone alone routinely accounts for over 50% of Apple's staggering revenue. They built an unbreakable ecosystem. The blue bubble of iMessage became a cultural chokehold, trapping millions of users in a psychological loop. If you leave Apple, you become a social outcast in the group chat. But you can't run a creative empire on spreadsheets without killing the artists. Slowly, quietly, the design purists who guarded Apple's soul were pushed to the margins. Johnny Ive, Steve Jobs' creative soulmate, the man who physically sculpted the iMac, the iPod, and the iPhone, found himself choked by corporate red tape. He was no longer designing the future. He was arguing with bean counters over the cost of a screw. The tension boiled over. The suits won. In 2019, Johnny walked away forever, and with him, the final trace of Steve's romantic obsession with pure, uncompromising beauty left the building. Jobs didn't care about safe profit margins. He cared about the insanely great. Cook cared about the supply chain. And as the years rolled on, the world began to notice a pattern. Apple was no longer leading the tech industry. They were sitting in the shadows, waiting to see what their rivals did first, to pad the numbers. Cook turned to accessories. The Apple Watch and AirPods became multi-billion-dollar juggernauts. But let's be honest, are they revolutionary breakthroughs? No. They are brilliant as beautifully engineered leeches. They cannot exist without the iPhone. They are accessories designed to lock you deeper into the ecosystem. Large screens? Samsung did it first. Apple mocked them, then copied them. Widgets? Android had them for a decade. Apple introduced them as a breakthrough. Wireless charging, triple cameras, always-on displays, all pioneered by competitors while Apple sat on their hands, waiting until the tech was safe, cheap, and predictable. But the corporate panic was growing behind the scenes. They knew they couldn't survive on incremental phone updates forever. For an entire decade, Apple poured over $10 billion into Project Titan, their top secret, electric autonomous cars. It was supposed to smash Tesla, but after years of executive infighting, changing visions, and engineering roadblocks, Apple panicked. They completely scrapped the project, leaving a decade of work and $10 billion dead in the dirt. They desperately needed a distraction. They needed to prove to Wall Street they could still build a brand new hardware category, without Steve's ghost guiding their pencils. Enter spatial computing, the Apple Vision Pro. launched with billions of dollars of marketing hype. It was supposed to be Tim Cook's iPhone moment.
An entirely new AR platform with a revolutionary new product.
A $3,500 monument to Apple's modern engineering. But the market delivered a brutal, freezing reality check. Consumers scoffed at the price. The headset was too heavy, causing neck strain. And worst of all, it was a solution, looking for a problem. Without Steve Jobs' uncanny, almost terrifying ability to tell consumers what they wanted before they even knew they wanted it, Apple built a hyper-advanced piece of tech that absolutely nobody asked for. But the Vision Pro failure was just the tip of the iceberg. The real disaster was happening in the background, the artificial intelligence race. When OpenAI dropped ChatGPT, Silicon Valley shifted overnight. And where was Apple? Caught completely asleep at the wheel for years. Siri remained a frustrating, glorified egg timer, unable to understand basic context. Apple was so far behind in generative AI that they couldn't build their own model in time. At their developers' conferences, they had to announce a partnership with OpenAI just to put basic AI features into the iPhone. The world's richest company had to outsource its brain. And now, the ultimate trap is snapping shut. The United States government, alongside dozens of states, hit Apple with a historic antitrust lawsuit. The accusation? Apple isn't winning through superior innovation. They are winning through illegal monopoly power. The DOJ alleges that Apple deliberately degrades cross-platform messaging, blocks cloud gaming apps, and restricts third-party smartwatches, just to force people to buy iPhones. Apple is currently fighting tooth and nail in court, trying to force federal agencies to hand over documents to defend themselves. But the curtain has been pulled back. Apple doesn't invent things anymore. They monetize the gate. They act less like tech pioneers and more like luxury landlords, charging a 30% tax on app developers, and taking billions from Google just to remain the default search engine. Steve Jobs didn't just build a company, he built a culture based on the beautiful premise of thinking different. But today, the high priests of Cupertino think exactly like every other corporate machine in history. Protect the stock price, eliminate the risk, and copy what works. Apple isn't dying. They are too rich to die. But the magic died in 2011.